it's clear the West lost the war because they didn't really. They made two mistakes in my estimation. First of all, they supported a government that had Sharia law as its foundation. You can't do that. That's like supporting the Germans who want Nazism or the Shinto religion in Japan at the end of World War II. You got to completely eradicate that in order to be able to move forward, and we didn't do that. So that was number one. Number two, they tried to fight Vietnam all over again in the desert, and it didn't work in Vietnam, and it didn't work here. And so because of that, now the world's running away with its tails between its legs, littering the ground with money, hoping to buy themselves some time, or maybe something will work that they haven't tried already, like they haven't tried that before. And it's really hideous to watch.
Okay, we're going to have to go for a break here, Nick. Sorry to interrupt your observations there. So stay tuned, ladies and gentlemen. Don't go away. We'll be back in a few minutes here on the Nick and Joe Show on the Think Radio Broadcast Network.
Well, welcome back to the Nick and Joe Show, folks. I'm Nick. He's Joe. He's down there in Bunker A in the nation's capital, and I am in Bunker Papa, or P, up here in the center of the universe, at least as far as the Northwest Ontario is concerned, in Pickle Lake. And boy, I'll tell you, it is pretty up here. What's
the call letters for the airport in Pickle Lake?
Oh, you would ask me that.
Oh, you don't know?
There's a I can find out fast enough. Give me a second.
I want to say it's WPL.
You're probably not that far off. Pickle Lake.
Bunker
I should have
Bunker Papa Lima.
Bunker Papa Lima, huh? Let's see. What does it say?
Sounds like an Italian song.
It is Charlie
Lima.
Yankee Papa Lima.
Charlie Yankee. What does the Charlie Yankee stand for?
I don't know, but the C is for Canadian.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking whiskey, but yeah, the Yankee, because it starts with a. That's it. Okay, so it's 4 letters.
Yep,
that's interesting. Okay,
everybody just calls it the pickle or pick.
I understand, but you got to have that right coding on the proper forms when you're filling them out, your flight plans and stuff like that.
That's air operations. I'm involved in fuel.
Okay.
Which is why I don't know it, because I don't use it every day.
You're just like, you like to add fuel to the fire.
Oh man, you have no idea.
No, I have a pretty good idea, Nick. We've known each other too long.
Fair enough. Someday I'll tell you about what was going on up at a place called Round Lake today about putting in a fuel tank. Oh, not boy. Now. No, we won't get into it now.
No, we don't want to get into it on the record.
No, it's nothing negative. It's just the way things are done here in the North.
Okay. Well, I have a little bit of experience about the way things are done in the North, so I still don't think you should go on the record.
Okay, fine.
Let's move out of away from Afghanistan, where it's very easy for us to criticize the behavior of the Afghan government and the international community towards the Afghan government. But what about what's going on in Europe, in particular France? I know you were mentioning something.
Funny you mention it, because French is a very English language, very interesting language. And what the government of France has done, let me just bring up the article here. There it is. Let me read to you just the first chapter, just the first couple of paragraphs. France has banned, this is from Newsweek, France has banned the use of gender-neutral language in schools, citing harm to the learning of the French language. In a decree sent to schools across France, the country's education ministry aimed to end the use of midpoints that designate both masculine and feminine endings to words. As the Telegraph reported, in the French language, nouns reflect the gender of the object they are referring to, and the masculine ending is usually dominant. So obviously, I'm trying to think of what to call this group. Those who promote gender neutrality have run into a roadblock in France, where they have basically said, "No, we are not going to do that," and they have basically told them, we're not changing our language just to suit you. And I want to applaud the French government for doing that. I wish we had a government that would do that. Whether you like the English language or in this case the French language, you shouldn't be able to just at a whim change it for the sake of political correctness. And I think that what France is doing here is making the move in the right direction and basically flipping the bird to those who want 72 different versions of, gender, or changing to, instead of calling something fishermen, they're called fisher persons now. Look what the Canadian Navy did with the ranks. You've got leading sailor instead of leading seaman. I mean, give me a break. Never mind tradition. That goes all out the window. But France is not doing that. At least not in their education system, and I want to applaud them for it because I think that's the right move.
Now, it's really interesting because there are a couple of ways to look at this. The first thing is, in French, as with most other languages, at least Western languages, there is no gender neutrality. Every single object has a gender. A chair has a gender. A chair is female. A table is female. Okay? So a living, an animal, a person, will have a gender, but it could be a male, could be a female, depending on their gender. But a table is female, and it can never be male, interestingly enough. So one wonders how they were coming up with the idea of gender neutrality. Now, the way you described it actually makes sense, because in French, as in other languages, if you have a group of males together, then you would describe them. You would spell whatever the adjective is that's describing that group would be all male. If it's all female, then the adjective or whatever adverb that you're using would be spelled in a way that denotes that they are females. But if it's a mixed group, males and females, then you would use a spelling that says that they're all males. So this is what they mean when they say that the male is dominant when you have groups of males and females together. So what would happen is the example you used was ami would be for I have a friend, a male friend. If I have two male friends, it's ami with an S. If I have two female friends, it's ami with an E and an S at the end, so IES. But what happens if I have a group of one male friend and three female friends all as a group? Then I would still spell it ami, A-M-I-S. I believe I'm getting the spelling right. If I'm not, someone will correct me, I'm sure. But so what you're saying is that they were going, okay, well, it would be A-M-I.E.S. So it's kind of a complicated way of doing it, but I could see the logic in it. I don't agree with it again, but it makes a lot more sense what they were trying to do. By the way, I think the term you were looking for was woke. The wokies in France.
Okay, fine. Yes, that'll work.
The problem is with English, is that we actually do have a neutral gender. So a table in French is feminine. A table in English is neither feminine nor masculine. It's no gender. It's neutered, neutral, whatever. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So how do we? What's the pronoun that we use for it? We don't say you to the table. We say the table, or we refer to it as it.
Right.
So here's the problem with the people that want to change the pronouns in English. The problem is that we actually have a gender neutral pronoun, but who wants to be referred to as an it? You know what I'm
I know
saying?
some people
You
I would
have
refer to as its.
okay. It's sort of you're a person, okay, and you're saying, well, I don't want you to refer to my gender. I want you to call me they. Okay, as in they're sitting down, right? They are
Right.
sitting down. And I'm going, no, I don't have to do that because if it's gender neutral, I could do it in proper English. I would say it's sitting down.
And you're right. Nobody wants to be called Nit
Well, of
unless
course
your
not.
first name is Cousin.
So it's there's a little bit of disingenuousness around that whole thing about trying to reform the language to get rid of gender specific pronouns because it's not. I don't want to be a she. I want to be a they. Okay, fine, but no, you don't want to be a they. You want to be an it.
Yeah, explain that to them and watch your eyes spin. You don't get it. You don't understand. No, I think I understand.
Well,
it's you that don't get it.
You see, the problem here is, again, I profoundly disagree with what they want to do, but I can still follow the logic. I can connect the dots, no matter how silly it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you're a better man than
Okay,
I am that way.
but my problem here is, I'm cursed. It was terrible. I had to take grammar in grade 1.
Oh yeah.
And I had the temerity to pass.
Oh no.
And horror of horrors, Nick, not just to pass, but to retain that little tidbit of knowledge about gender neutrality in English.
Yeah, you horrible man, you.
So I suppose that nobody teaches this anymore. Now, of course, everybody uses the term it. Okay? I mean, because we all understand that, the sidewalk we're walking on, those paving stones are its. Okay? When you step in the doggy do, okay, it's not a he and it's not a she, it's an it. It's stuck to the bottom of the shoe.
It's not the first phrase that came to my mind.
Okay,
You're
but
close,
nobody wants to be equated with doggy do. So they go, okay, well, I'm not an it. That's right.
Then don't act like
sort of like I am not an it. I am not a monster. I am a real human being. I'm going, yes, okay.
That was never a debate. The question was the intelligence level of that real human being.
But it's I'm making a joke, Nick. But in all seriousness, I'm sure that these people never took a class in primary school, in elementary school, or in high school where a teacher actually pointed out in clear, unambiguous English the fact that the word it, denotes gender neutrality. I mean, that simple explanation. I mean, we all know it intuitively. You pick up the language, right? But
That's right.
has anybody actually sat down and said in a formal grammar lesson. That's what the word it is. And we have